Greetings, fiends. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to DonnaJean's Coffee House of Horror. Today I'm going to share with you an interview I did in June with the brilliant and the stunning Janet Jay. And looking back on it, I know it was done in June because I still had quarantine hair. Our area had not gone green yet, so I couldn't get out to the hairdresser and get my bangs done. And, I'm really hoping that before too long, we can look back at this time and laugh. But until then, please join Women in Horror, join me at the coffee house, and let's hang out together. But you didn't tune in to hear me talking, so I give you Janet Jay. And I am here with Janet Jay, who you would probably know as Janet Decay and or the mummy from The Mummy and the Monkey. And if you don't know her under those names, why not? You really should. So welcome, Janet, and thank you.
Hi, Donna. Thanks for the invite. This is awesome.
So to get down to it, you are a woman of you've done so much and you're involved with so much. So when and how did you get started with acting?
Well, I've always loved Halloween. I've loved anime and classic video games and all that nerdy stuff, comic books. And I started acting around 2007. I was interested in cosplay, making my own costumes for conventions. And I made a Catwoman cosplay outfit that I put on my MySpace page, back in the days of MySpace. And a local actor, I guess, found me on MySpace and said, hey, I have some friends that are making a movie. Do you want to be a dead body for the movie? And I'm like, who are you people? That sounds really cool. Let me look you up, make sure you're not really, make sure it's good.
Right.
And sure, okay, that sounds like fun. And then got involved with some of the local indie actors here in Ohio, where maybe I was a vampire or a zombie for this film project, that film project. And then later on befriended indie filmmakers like Robert Katabish from RAK Films.
Oh.
And then there were different groups that had charity zombie walks in the Cleveland area. And I would dress up for that and meet filmmakers and different artists. And it was just a great way to connect. And then when you go to these conventions, it's a huge networking opportunity. And yeah, just got involved in it. I really liked it. And then didn't get into the horror film hosting until about 2012, 2013. So.
Well, you had to be pretty young when you first started doing the dead bodies and the zombies. And
in my 20s. So a
It's
mummy
old
doesn't
enough.
reveal her true age, but youngish.
I've heard a lot about the zombie runs and that, and I used to be a pretty rigorous runner, and I always thought, oh my gosh, I would get so distracted by that. But it just would have to be so fun.
Well, you don't have to run really fast when you're a zombie. You could just kind of stumble around, and a lot of people had a few bruises that day, so I think they were stumbling around anyway. It was just an excuse for them to get out and party. But with a lot of that, the proceeds went to like the Cleveland Food Bank, Harvest for Hunger. So a lot of it went to a good cause, and it was just a fun way to dress up and hang out with your friends. And at the time, I think that's when like Walking Dead first came out.
Yes.
And I think it was like real trendy at the time. Now the whole zombie thing's kind of, you don't hear about it as much. It's kind of, I don't know what the next trend would be. Maybe more Rob Zombie movies or werewolves or something. We'll find out.
Yeah, horror seems to have its ebb and flow about what's popular and what's out and what's around, and so
yeah.
So did you find that your family were supportive? When I was watching through some of your shows at one point, I saw one where you took the camera in and you were talking to your mom about stuff in your basement. And she just seemed like adoring that you were doing it.
My mom thinks it's fun what we do, but she's not really into the scary movies. She's a sweet lady. She knows I love Halloween. She knows I like the scary movies, but it's not really her cup of tea. But Mama Monkey likes what we do. The monkey's mommy. And she's cool with it. So yeah, we've got a lot of friends and family that do think it's cool, or they just think we're weird and they just like us anyway. But
that works too. That works too.
Yeah, because some people get it and they're like, oh, that's cool. Because here in Cleveland, Ohio, we had a big history of like Big Chuck and Little John, the Ghoul, Ghoulardi. Who else? Gosh, I think there's something in the water here in Lake Erie where we've had a lot of horror hosts in Ohio. So a lot of people here do get it, but for the ones that don't, they're just like, oh, okay, that's that weird. Those are the weird people that like Halloween.
And as long as everybody leaves each other be, it's all good.
Yeah.
Now you've worked in a lot of venues. You've done the horror hostess, which you're doing now, and you've done movies and shorts and some voice acting. Do you have a favorite venue? Do you have one you particularly like to work in?
Well, I've done some pinup modeling in the past, and I still do that from time to time, and it's a lot of fun. I've
seen some of that. You're gorgeous, by the way.
Aw, thank you. Thanks, cool friend. And I love getting acting gigs. I love doing that, but I think my favorite is when we can work on our own projects, when I could do my own thing and, work with Monkey Man and we can make our own video projects, because then it's, we answer to ourselves, and the fans seem to like that stuff. We're trying to build up that brand and build up a following.
Now it seems as though you are from what I could gather, that you're the writer, the director, the actor with the Mummy and the Monkey.
Yeah.
Do you like wearing all of the hats, or is it kind of overwhelming at times?
Pretty much. It's kind of like in the credits of an Ed Wood movie where you see, directed by Ed Wood, written by Ed Wood.
Starring Ed Wood.
Some people have a film crew. They'll have writers, editors, makeup artists. No, we do all of it. It's a one mummy, one monkey army, and we each have designed our own characters. I've created the character Janet Decay, my horror hostess character.
Right.
And made the costume for that, did the makeup, but it has evolved. You kind of learn as you go, and you see what works and what doesn't, and just kind of run with it.
Now it looked, from what I could gather, that you were a horror hostess, the two of you, on another show. And it's escaping me right now, and I don't trust my brain. The Daughter of the Ghoul, does that sound familiar?
Yes.
So
oh my goodness.
Did the Mummy and the Monkey kind of evolve as something separate from that? Did you just need a break from that?
Well, when I was looking for different acting jobs, a director met up with a guy named Daniel Kristancic. He produced the show The Daughter of the Ghoul, and it was on cable TV in Cleveland, Ohio, and in surrounding suburb cities, and it was through public access cable. I think at the time it was Time Warner. And he was just a fanboy, grew up watching these hosted shows like Big Chuck and Little John and the Ghoul, and wanted to put together his own show. And I didn't agree with the title, The Daughter of the Ghoul, but he was looking for an actress to help host it. I guess for a little bit, his nephew's girlfriend helped him host it, but she didn't really get the idea, wasn't really into it. So he wanted to find someone local to help host it. And I auditioned and got the part, and that's actually how I met Monkey Man.
Aha, so that
And
was the beginning of where you are now.
yeah, and we both volunteered on the show. I helped host it, and then he would help behind the scenes with some of the graphics. He would act in some of the comedy skits, and he would show up as, you know, the monkey character Grimm Gorri for some skits. And I think in for the Christmas special, he read The Night Before Christmas as Grimm Gorri.
Oh, nice.
So we helped with that for a year. It was only on, no, maybe a little over a year, from 2013 to maybe like January of 2014. And shortly after, he wanted to cancel and work on wrestling videos and some sports videos instead. So, you know, we had a few creative differences, but we do wish him well. And we didn't agree with the name The Daughter of the Ghoul because we had a lot of fans that remember the show The Ghoul and Ghoularty, and they thought I was riding Ron Swede's coattails. Ron Swede was the guy who played the Ghoul on television here in Cleveland and in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's a handful of people that still give me crap for that to this day. But it really wasn't my show. I was just the actress helping someone's show. But
right. So really, while it was the Daughter of the Ghoul kind of pointed you, but what you're doing now is your show.
Yes. So The Mummy and the Monkey is our show, and we did create that, I believe, October of 2014. And then early 2015 is when we started putting episodes together as The Mummy and the Monkey. But we still wanted to work on videos. Monkey Man and I, and James, my husband, we still wanted to work on videos, but we weren't sure what to call it, weren't sure how to go about it. We still wanted to use our characters and somehow merge them together. And at the time we were friends and dating, and then, yeah, later on we got married.
So it all sounds like it was quite an endeavor of the show and the relationship. So
yeah, it was a monster mash.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. So you do, I watched a couple of interviews that you did at conventions, and I just loved watching those. The shows that you show and the folks that I saw that you interviewed were primarily from the old horror shows. Mm-hmm. And that is so fun. And I'm quite the old horror fan myself. So in doing the interviews, I know that you've gone as guests, and I know that you've gone and done the interviews. Do you prefer one over the other? When you go to do interviews, do you find that people want to ask you questions?
You mean like when people interview us at the convention?
Yes.
Oh, we love being interviewed because it's less work for us to do. when we go and interview the guests, it's more work for us because we're the ones coming up with the questions. And
I understand that.
Yeah, and thank you for putting this together, and thank you, Dave, for from Women in Horror. But yeah, I noticed it's just easier, like when other people interview us, we're like, cool, okay, it's less for me to do. But no, we love interviewing the guests too. We go to different, we want to venture out to other conventions, but with the pandemic going on right now, you know,
right.
We'll see. Right. I'm hoping next year will be better if it can get under control. But we'll see, you know, it's kind of up in the air. But yeah, we would love to travel more and attend more shows.
Do you, if it were not for the pandemic or when this is behind us, which hopefully will be before terribly long, is there anywhere in particular that you would like to go? Any show in particular you'd like to attend you haven't been to yet?
Well, I myself have never been out west, and I've heard Monster Palooza in California is really good. And I've never been to that show yet, and I think it would be awesome if we could get press badges to go there and interview people.
That would be great.
That's a goal. That's a convention goal that I'd love to achieve.
I have those myself. I understand.
A con bucket list.
So speaking of the con bucket list, is there anyone that you would like to interview that will throw it to the winds and say living or dead that you'd like to talk to?
Living or dead. Wow.
Living or dead.
I really
Living or
wish
undead.
There you go. I really wish that we could have met Zachary, because Zachary was, so he started around the same time as Vampira. So mid 1950s, he was East Coast, Vampira was West Coast, and never got to meet Mila Nurmi, so I'd love to interview her too. She passed away in 2008. She was Vampira, the original horror hostess, the grandmother of all horror hostesses.
Right.
And then Zachary, he was the original cool ghoul. So yeah, those two would be amazing to pick their brains if they could come back from the nether world.
Right. I definitely understand that. There's so many people really where we are and what you're doing. The road was paved from so many people, so many amazing people, you know, but you are adding to that. And
thank
that
you.
is wonderful. So let's see here. We were talking a little bit about the pandemic. Is that really, I know you have the show, so, you know, you film there, but are there ways that you're finding that is impacting you and what you're doing other than not being able to run to the conventions?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is not going to the local conventions. A lot of the fans will message us saying that they miss us. They miss seeing us in person, talking with us, getting a picture. So yeah, I mean, we miss that aspect. We miss hugging our friends and fans, high-fiving people.
Oh, I know.
But we want everyone to be safe. And we've had a lot of people also say through this, you know, they're watching our shows as a way to get their minds off of current events. And sometimes it's therapy for us too, because we get stressed, we get anxious about current events and things going on. And sometimes when we host the show, it's like our distraction, and we could talk to the fans and get our minds off of things too. So it works both ways.
Yeah, it definitely does. So any specific plans you're going to go with Mummy and the Monkey, or is it just kind of right now waiting to get behind the pandemic and get on to business as usual?
Well, we have some plans for more comedy skits for the streaming shows.
Awesome.
We're interested in, you know, working with indie filmmakers. We do have a call out there to indie filmmakers because in the past we have screened some of their movies. As long as it's within, because right now we do stream on our Facebook page, so we try to keep the movies more PG-13 or do a little creative editing here and there. You know, so we're open to that, or maybe we should do Zoom interviews to try to interview other actors. So I think you're inspiring us with this whole Zoom chat.
Oh, well, thank you. It's definitely new to me and very different. So
yeah,
we were chatting a little bit beforehand, and I was saying, oh my gosh, my hair, I have to cut my bangs. And you've given me encouragement to do that. So
yeah, I haven't had my hair done since December. I just trim this myself.
You're amazing.
So if I could do it, you could do it.
We do have women in horror. When I say we do have a couple of indie filmmakers involved with our crew. So hey, guys, get in touch with Janet.
Yay! Yeah, we'd love to interview you, talk with you guys, stream your show, or maybe stream a trailer on our show to promote you. So even if it's like a rated R movie or a really gory movie, that's okay. You know, maybe we could just show the trailer to promote other indie filmmakers or indie actors out there.
I don't know if I should talk about this, but I will. But one of the things Women in Horror was doing was, when the pandemic first hit us, was a quarantine movie watch. And we had a number of people introducing our films that we were showing. And unfortunately, they were not, you know, a lot of horror films do have things like nudity and vulgarity. And Kane Hodder was wonderful and amazing and filmed this introduction to the Hatchet films. And we got cut down on Facebook when we were showing Hatchet 2 after 5 minutes because of nudity. So that's one of the reasons we really needed to go outside of Facebook to find another venue,
was horror and nudity. So I'm very impressed with the fact that you guys seem to pull all of it off. But I guess a lot of the films we have to be a bit more aware.
Yeah, so we stream on Facebook because we can't necessarily stream our movies on YouTube, even if we play like a public domain, meaning no copyright movie, like Night of the Living Dead, for example. Someone on YouTube will still claim that they own that movie, and we'll get dinged for it. So that's why we stream on Facebook now, but then we have to watch the Facebook guidelines because, and with the show anyway, even though we don't mind nudity and gore and we watch a lot of that stuff, for the Facebook streaming, we usually try to cut some of that out, or we'll do some fun editing where we'll cover up boobies. But because we do get a lot of families that watch, there's some people that watch with their little kids. So yeah, we have a lot of fart jokes and some innuendo jokes here and there, but we try to keep it more like, so most people can watch. It's not a kid's show, but you know, some kids can watch it with parental supervision.
Yeah, I think the direction that you've gone is wonderful. And I know that's been part of a process that you went through to get where you are, but I just think it's great. Would you like to talk about where and when people can find The Mummy and the Monkey?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you could catch us on most Friday nights. Our Facebook page is The Mummy and the Monkey. It's
Mummy, M-U-M-M-Y.
Yes, Mummy like the movie The Mummy.
Right.
But not the Tom Cruise Mummy. That movie sucks.
I agree.
That movie was absolutely terrible. But yeah, The Mummy and the Monkey on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, The Mummy and the Monkey. And then Twitter, we're just Mummy and Monkey, because Twitter won't let us have a name that long. We don't like Twitter that much.
It has you be very creative to try to fit everything into the space that they give you. So
yeah, they're just a whole nother animal. But yeah, we stream on there. It's just easier for us. And then we do stream on YouTube. Usually after we host a movie Friday nights on Facebook, we'll jump over to YouTube and have like a little talk show. We call it The Mummy and the Monkey's Hairy Scary Hangover.
Awesome.
So for the night owls that are still hanging around, they could chat with us and we'll talk about movies or nostalgic things, just random. And people will ask us random questions at like 1 a.m. Hey, why not?
Get any kind of an answer for then.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time with us. And I'm going to catch up to you again. Maybe get the both of you on here chatting a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Donna. Thank you, Women in Horror. And for all you ladies out there, you rock. So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you so much for watching. You can join our Women in Horror family by subscribing today. You can stalk us by clicking on the bell icon. You can watch more of my show or any of my sister shows by clicking on one of the videos to the right. Until next time, fiends, take care.